great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
So Arnold was on The View, and he was talking about immigration and the recent protests that have been going on. And if you know anything about The View, they're very very favorable towards those topics. And so some of the things that Arnold is saying, they don't see eye to eye with. Let's take a look. Oh, and by the way, I skipped over the intro. The intro is talking about his TV show. So let's get right to the topic at hand.
We are thrilled to have you back, and we will get to your new show, but I do want to ask you a little bit of politics.
What is this, schnapps?
Oh, looks like you got my cup.
I didn't know you guys are drinking alcohol here.
As the former governor of California, my home state, California's been in the headlines. Obviously, there have been these huge protests of President Trump's immigration policies. He threatened to potentially arrest Gavin Newsom if he didn't comply.
By the way, if you didn't know, Arnold he's the former governor of California. So he was a previous governor there. And the current governor is Gavin Newsom, the man she just brought up.
If you were governor right now of California, how would you be handling the ongoing crisis that the state's facing?
Well, I think the most important thing is when you are in a leadership position like that, is that you are inclusive and that you work together with everybody. Mm-hmm. And so it means that you have to work together with local government, the state government, and the federal government.
See, so that's the exact opposite of what Gavin Newsom has been doing. He has not been working with Trump, even though Trump is the president of the United States. And that's simply because Trump is more conservative and Gavin is very, very, very liberal. He is the governor of California. And there's a clash of ideology there.
They have to work together rather than fighting each other. Mm-hmm. Fighting each other's agendas and all of that stuff, that doesn't do good to anybody. And so that's number one. Number two.
So yeah. Working together. If you think about it, the reason why this got so out of hand and there was all these cars being burned and these buildings being destroyed is because, you know, the government was not working together with the state government was not working together with the federal government. And then the federal government rolls in, you know, and then starts taking matters into its own hands without direct help. And then that just complicates things further. So if people were just getting along and working together from the very beginning, this wouldn't have gotten to this point. And you can see that, you know, the current governor of California, Newsom, is at odds with the way that Arnold believes things should be done.
The most important thing is to create immigration reform. Because all of this is happening because we don't have immigration reform. For decades now, this country has needed immigration reform, which means that we recognize the fact there's people in the south of America that want to come north to work, and that we therefore should supply them with enough visas so they can come, because we need those workers.
This is true, right? So that's absolutely undoubtedly true. The United States has benefited from immigration forever, right? But there's a difference between, you know, legal immigration, where you're vetted and, you know, chosen and you go through the right avenues, right? And you have papers and all of this and that, and visas, and just, you know, barging yourself into the country illegally, breaking in, essentially. But it is true that the United States does want people to come from these different countries. We definitely do that. The government definitely does. And that's why it has these legal immigration systems in place, right? You can think about, if somebody in South America, in the country of Colombia, right, is really good with, they're really good with software engineering, right? And maybe they're good at making apps, or maybe they're good with AI, right? That's the kind of person that the United States would benefit from. The United States would love to have that person come from Colombia and contribute to the United States by working with our companies here, or even working at the government and lending his expertise. So that's an example of immigration that is great and that the government is all about, right? But the other side of the equation is people that just break in again. That's just not good. And many of the people, if not all of the people here in The View, are very favorable towards the kinds of people that are breaking in illegally. And you're going to see that.
So this is the bottom line, because then we would know who is here. We will be able to get rid of the criminal elements that are here.
That's right.
And all of this stuff, so we wouldn't be in a mess that we're in right now. So this is my way of saying always, Democrats and Republicans have to come together and solve this issue if they really want to be public servants. If they want to be party servants and be party hacks and be tied to their ideology, then it won't happen. But if you want to make this country better, and if you want to improve this country and improve the situation of people's lives and bring the prices down and all of this, you will.
Yeah. So he is absolutely correct. And, that's what it's all about. It's about working together. You do need, all the states to work together in order to have a United States, right? And the state of California, I think that they're doing a disservice when they let, the sorts of chaos, frankly, that have happened during these protests, they let that go on unimpeded, right? Because you've seen this before. You saw this in like 2020, right? It starts in one place and then it starts getting out of control, and then that starts spreading to other states, right? But if California were to take care of this and make sure that the protesting is happening and it's happening, civilly, right? And peacefully, then there wouldn't be problems, right? You're allowed to protest. It's okay for you to protest. You just can't, break government building windows and set police cars on fire.
Go and serve the people of America. This is what it is. If you're a public servant, that's what you're supposed to do. So that's what I would do if I'm governor.
Yes. But you were governor already.
I was.
You can't do it again.
I was. I'm not governor anymore.
But you are. But as an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant. I'm so proud and happy.
Mm-hmm. And, that's one thing. It's like, he's an immigrant. This is something that they do a lot. They say immigrant, like immigrant, like they say migrant, but they don't call it what it is, right? Like, some people, when you lump in everybody, right? It's like calling, a criminal, right? Or a suspect or whatever, instead of calling them a suspect for a crime, somebody that they think is affiliated in some way with that crime. They just call it, a person. We're looking for a person. Right? They don't call it a person. They say a suspect, right? If they're looking for, if a inmate has broken out of a prison, they don't say, we're looking for a person, or a person got loose. No, they say, or a human got loose. No, they say an inmate, a prisoner got loose, a criminal got loose and is on the run, right? Like we have these words for a reason. So what they're doing by calling people, calling everybody who's illegal, legal, whatever else, immigrants, right? Is they're lumping in people that are doing bad things with the people that are not doing anything at all, and making it seem like the people that have done nothing wrong are the ones that are going to be rounded up and deported and put into these, sent to prison or whatever for a crime that they didn't commit. And that's absolutely BS. If you haven't done anything wrong, if you're here on a visa, if you just came over here to go to Disney World, like there's no fear. Like you don't have to be afraid of anything. You go on to Disney World and stay at your hotels and do whatever you want, right? But the way that these people frame it, everybody should be afraid, because apparently all the immigrants, all the migrants are getting deported and they're getting rounded up. And that's just wrong. They're intentionally trying to mislead people. And I'm frankly, I'm tired of it.
That I would.
And the other thing is, yeah, Arnold is an immigrant. But was he an illegal immigrant? Did he come from El Rio Grande and like break into the United States when he was like 21 or whatever? I don't think so. I mean, I imagine he didn't. So like already trying to lump in, people that are breaking into the United States, with Arnold here. You're an immigrant too, just like everybody else. Yeah, I don't know. I think somebody in the comments, let me know. But something tells me that Arnold probably came here legally. He probably entered the country legally with a visa or something else. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see bigger and better content, the only thing you need to do is hit subscribe and like, and I'll take care of the rest.
Was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine they came over here with the age of 21, with absolutely nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created, all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity. And I think because I'm such a proud American and a proud immigrant that came to America, I was asked to do, on July 4th, a big speech, the keynote speech at Mount Vernon, where George Washington was laid to rest, and where he lived and all that, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America, the existence of America. And I will be doing the speech there. They asked me because I'm an immigrant, and there will be 7,000 some people there, and there will be people that will be sworn in and will become citizens that day.
Great.
So it's really a great celebration. And this is what this is all about: is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America, and all that. And so, I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can, keep things clean, and to make my bed.
Two things. First of all, he's absolutely right. Right? Like people that are, these illegal immigrants that are, coming into the country without any papers, without being vetted, they're just, jumping over the fence or, coming through El Rio Grande. It's the equivalent of somebody breaking into your house, right? And it's the equivalent of somebody breaking into your house. And then just saying, well, now I broke into your house. Now I'm allowed to be here forever. Right? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you don't just get to break into somebody's land and then say, I stay here now forever. That's not how it works. And it doesn't work like that on any country. So it's ridiculous that the United States has to go through this stuff now or ever. Right? We should be able to enforce our borders. The second thing is, I don't know if you saw this here. You can see it here. He's trying to talk, right?
Like a guest.
And then you'll see
like
Sonny
when I
right
go
here.
to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can, keep things clean, and to make my bed. And
Look at her. There she is. That's her hand. And she's just right there like, okay, be quiet, Grandpa. Okay, it's my turn to talk. Sonny doesn't like what he's saying. If you don't know Sonny, she's the one on the right with the curly hair. She's their like lawyer. She's an ex-lawyer or something like that. And she is notorious because she is so drunk on her ideology. Like, she will not, every time they have like a guest or something, she's always arguing with them and never admits that she is wrong with anything. It's always, oh, she's right and it's her way, and that's that, right? So you can tell she already has a problem with what Arnold is saying, because she's already like, hey, stop now, Grandpa. Okay, now, it's my turn to talk. Shut up.
Do everything that is the right thing to do,
Look at her.
rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think
That's so her. Look at her. She's so antsy and ready to jump. Just like, hey, yeah, it's my turn to talk. Yeah, can you just shh? Hold on, you're wrong. I'm right. Let me correct you. Dude, she's never gonna change. She's always been like this.
important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay,
And by the way, it's great that Arnold didn't stop. He's just like, no, I'm not gonna let you interrupt me. He just keeps going.
I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. But you have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics,
That's
or
right.
whatever it is.
Contribute to the
Make
community.
this country a better
But
place.
Yeah.
Arnold, don't forget, there's a
That's what it's all
90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely.
Okay, so 90% of the people who come here are trying to, already they're doing everybody who comes here, every immigrant. Look, I'm sure that 90% of, maybe I'm not sure, but I imagine there's a high percentage of people who come here on visas, right, who haven't vetted, right, who went through the process legally, and they're totally fine. I absolutely imagine that's the case. But if you come here illegally, do you know how many criminals, how many people that are gang members, that are doing human trafficking, that are bringing in drugs? Like, there's no way that 90% of people that literally broke the law. And by the way, so some people will say, "Oh, it's a civil crime. It's not. It's not like you're not gonna go to jail for being in the United States illegally." Here's the thing: if you come into the United States legally, like let's say you come in on a travel visa or whatever, right, and you overstay the period of your visa that your visa allows, that is not something that you're gonna be like. It's not gonna be a criminal sentence that you're gonna be sentenced to go to jail for. Right? That's not that. Like that is handled in civil court, and whatever else. But if you break into the country illegally, if you have no claim to being in the United States and you just barge in, right? You just jump over the wall or whatever, the gates or whatever. That is a crime. And you can, if you are charged, right, you can be deported, or you can be sent to prison for that. So again, these people, they should know better, right? I mean, they have a literal lawyer right there and Sonny. They should know better, but they know better. And what they're doing is they're trying to mislead you by saying, oh, and they haven't said this here, but by saying, oh, it's not a crime. It's not, they're not criminals. It is a crime if you broke into the country illegally. It absolutely is. If you came on a visa and you overstayed, it is not, right? But a lot of the people that we're talking about here are people that come through South America, come through Mexico, and break into the country illegally. And so the other thing is that, Whoopi is over here. She's like, oh, 90% of people. Again, they're not saying 90% of illegal immigrants, right? And they're doing that for a reason, because they're trying to mislead you.
Likely to
And
commit crimes, immigrants.
a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country. People who have visas, people who have all those things. So
See, I haven't heard anybody who has a visa and hasn't committed a crime or anything. Because by the way, if you have a visa and you commit a crime, you can be taken and by ICE and you can be deported. right? We don't want people that are coming here to visit to then come in and start, increasing our crime rates, right? Start doing crime. And even if you're a resident, right? Even if you get a green card and now you're a resident of the United States and you just live here permanently and this is just your new home now, right? You can still have your green card revoked and you can be deported from whence you came. Like, my mom used to know somebody who's like, it was like their cousin or something like that. They had a green card. They've been in the United States for ages, right? And they were drinking and driving and they got their visa revoked and deported back from where they came from. So just because you're a resident of the United States, not a citizen, a resident, right? You haven't graduated to being a citizen yet. But just because you have a green card doesn't mean that you're immune to our laws. It doesn't mean that you can't be deported. You may be a permanent resident as long as you behave.
We want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
Yeah, you want all the right people, and that's why you want people to seemingly break into the United States all the time, unvetted? Come on.
They are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than actually American-born citizens. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that
Sure, and again, it's immigrants, not illegal immigrants, right?
Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to.
And see, she's ignoring what Arnold said. She's doing it right there. Arnold said, hey, we should work together. He's essentially saying, hey, we should do the opposite of what Newsom did. We should have been working together. And she listened to what he said, and she's basically saying, nah, I disagree. Newsom said he didn't want help. So, it doesn't freaking matter what's going on, whatever. She doesn't understand. I mean, she does understand. She's saying, hey, Arnold, you're wrong. You're wrong. He didn't ask for help, so there shouldn't be, anything.
The federal government to come to California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really?
If there's 9,000 local officers and California didn't need any help, then why was everything on fire? What were those officers doing? Just like, are you saying that they're lazy or something? And by the way, there's like a video of some of these sheriffs talking about how they were overwhelmed and they couldn't keep up with the crime and just the level of like disorder that was going on throughout these protests. So did you just ignore that, Sonny, or what's going on here? Oh, I know what's going on. It's not convenient because it doesn't fit in with your ideology, right? Because again, pretty much every immigrant that comes here never does any crime and everything's totally fine. I'm sure she thought that those cars being lit on fire were totally fine.
Everybody has to follow the law.
I mean, look, this is a whole other issue because remember, the National Guard is under the governor's supervision.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, like for instance, when the National Guard was sent to Iraq during the Iraqi War, I was not the one that said, "Oh yeah, go to Iraq." The Bush administration came and said, "We need those people."
They came to you.
They came to you. And we need the resources, we need the equipment, we need the weapons, we need the vehicles to ship to Iraq.
Yeah.
And then they ship
It's the
to Iraq.
coordination.
It's the
That's why I
coordination.
say it is very important that we work together.
See, exactly the opposite of what Sonny said. It's no. We should work together. We shouldn't be butting heads and going, no, I'm not taking your help, or I'm not, working with you on this, or we're not going to do anything about that. We should be working together. And she hates hearing this.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who is asking whom. The bottom line is we work together in order to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't just go in and do stuff. We all got to do it together like
Together,
this.
exactly.
That's right. I know that Sonny was internally seething. I know that she's just like, oh, I gotta come out. She just can't stop doing this shit. That was Arnold telling it like it is. He is somebody who is a bit more, he's obviously he was the governor of California, right? But even he's in many ways taking a stand and saying, hey, some of the stuff that's going on here is just unacceptable. And I think it's great to see. I think people should be able to think for themselves. And I don't think they should be like people like Sonny that come in and try to pressure you to just think what they think. Like, I think that's bullshit. I love that Arnold came out and they said, hey, he said, hey, no, actually, I think this. It's great to see.
Subscribe and like.